What is street lifting? And why do I think this is going to be the next new strength sport in America? Let's get right into it. I've squatted over 750 pounds. I've benched over 500 pounds numerous times. And I've deadlifted over 750 pounds. Welcome back, my YouTube family. My name is Brendan Todd. For those who don't know me, I'm a pretty competitive powerlifter. I've competed in strongman, I've competed in strict curls, and my objective is to explore strength, explore physical culture, and be a master of physical excellence. And what does that take me to? It takes me to street lifting. Street lifting is comprised of max muscle up, max pull, either being a pull up or a chin up, max dip, and your max squat. That is your traditional street lifting setup. It's very, very exciting. It's also very big in Europe and just starting here in America. Now, I competed at the 2024 Classic Street Lifting Nationals for America, where I set a new American record of a 300-pound dip. Before we get into my competition, let's break down the difference between classic street lifting and traditional street lifting. Now again, traditional street lifting, muscle up, pull up, dip, squat. But USA street lifting is pretty new here in America. And to help get more powerlifters into the sport, they introduced a new competition standard of classic street lifting. This is only including the pull up or chin up, and the dip. The reason for that is something like the muscle up can be very skill oriented. And again, the street lifting scene here in America is not as big as Europe and other places. It soon will be, and we will soon surpass you. But until then, we need to start introducing more strength sport people like myself. And a great way USA Street Lifting did that was with the Classic Nationals. You have 3 attempts to get the heaviest pull you can get, and 3 attempts to get the heaviest dip you can get. I stepped away with an American record of 300 pounds. Again, not as much as those guys in Europe, but you have to understand, I'm coming from a powerlifting background. I have no real specific training in the pull-up or the dip, yet I'm still putting up some impressive numbers at 255 pounds body weight. All right, pull-ups first. In this case, I'm doing chins. Attempt number 1. 65 kg, 143 pounds. And you're going to see it goes up very, very easy for me. During training, frankly, I was having a very hard time getting my chin above the bar every single rep. But overall, I think it was due to the fatigue and the amount of other training I was doing at this time. I did not peak for the street lifting meet like I would have a major powerlifting meet or like I am for my strongman meet coming up. I had strict curl 2 weeks later, street lifting 1 month later, strongman nationals. So it was very important that I put a lot of my focus into the strongman training, and the chin-ups and dips. Because of that, I was not able to peak like I would like to. Regardless, on that date, I felt very, very good and very powerful. The most I got during training for the chin-up was 190 pounds for one. So we started with a very conservative 143. For attempt 2, I did 75 kg, 165 pounds. I was feeling good, and I honestly felt like it moved very fast. As you can see here, boom, up. But watch the refs. Yeah, see that? The red flag there. Now, the rules for street lifting, there's a ton, and honestly, I don't really know all of them right off the bat, top of my head. But chin has to go not just above the bar, but over the bar. You can't kip, so you can't shift your hips in a certain way where you're kipping, and you can't kick. And that's where it came down to, is the kick. If we replay that, you're gonna look at my right knee. As I pull up, I have a slight kick to the knee, to the leg. Now, in my opinion, the rules state that your no kicking is allowed if it helps with the lift. I don't think it helped with the lift. To me, it's just like a muscle spasm. It was honestly just a muscle spasm. I could say similar to benching when you're bench pressing and you see those guys, their legs starts quivering. It's because you're generating so much force throughout your body that you start to quiver, as you start to twitch, the muscle starts to twitch. And that's all that was. But the ref disagreed with me, gave me the red flag anyways. So because of that, for my third attempt, I only went up 1.5 kilos to 76.5 kilograms, 168 pounds. To be honest with you, I felt really, really good that day. I probably had 190 if I was allowed to just have that twitch in my muscle, have that twitch in my leg. But if we look at the 76.5 kilograms, the 168 pounds lift, moved very well, moved much better. Unfortunately, I had to focus so much on my legs that I think it could have moved even better if I wasn't really focusing on the leg, trying to squeeze my quad as much as possible. Now, with that being said, it's just training. We have to train out of it. We have to train out of it. We have to train my legs' ability to stabilize and keep a good squeeze on the plates during the entire lift. Still new to street lifting, still learning everything. Let's continue to get it. Overall, pretty happy with the pull-up performance given the circumstances. I would have liked obviously about 20 pounds more, but it is what it is. Then we move on to the dips. The dips are a little funky. First one went very well, and then we went into the second dip here, about 275 pounds. Honestly, I was not going to be taking these attempts. In training, I did not go heavier than 255 pounds for, I believe, 3 reps. Like I said, I was prepping for Strongman Nationals. It didn't really make sense to be working up to a 1 rep max for the chin-ups and the dips because of everything else we had going on. So we were going there a little bit blind as far as what my overall capacity is to perform these things. We still tapered into this meet, but we didn't really know where my max level strength is. So when the person I was competing against I think he took like 275 for his second, I knew I had to just bump it a little bit more. So I took like 275 or like 277, something like that. And I was luckily able to hit it, but that's something I've never done before. That weight I've never, ever done before. So let's take a look. Easy, very easy. I was surprised when I pushed up at how quickly that went up, how fast and powerful I felt. The technique looked really good. Overall, really happy with that second attempt. After this, I said, screw it. I mean, what other number is gonna be the number other than 300 pounds? Let's just go 300 pounds. It's a very nice, clean number, and a 300-pound dip is, I would think, pretty respectable for a guy my size and not really a street lifter. So that's where we went. Attempt 3, 136.25 kilograms or 300 pounds for the American record. The hype was real. Really appreciated everyone who came out. The one thing I really like about street lifting, at least in that competition, was there was a lot of energy, a lot of people trying to push these things forward. Everybody's cheering for everyone else. People are there to watch. Sometimes at these powerlifting meets, you just get a bunch of families and friends who don't really know what's going on, and there's no excitement. This was a lot of excitement. 300 pounds. Making sure I get a lot of air before I go. Boom. Nice and steady, focused, able to push through the grind. Got all 3 white lights or white flags, and it came away with the American record. Obviously, first place for my weight class was very exciting. The weight class itself though, was a 87.5 kg plus. and I weigh about 255 pounds, so that's a little less than 120 kilograms, I think like 115 kg. So obviously I was at, I would argue, kind of a disadvantage, especially for the pull-ups. Having heavier mass on your legs does not aid in the pull-ups much at all, and doesn't really aid in the dips at all either. Talking to some of the people who do street lifting a little bit more serious there, they said typically being a heavier weighted person helps with the dips, but does not help with the chin-ups or the pulls. Doesn't matter though. All we care about is progression. All we care about is being as strong as we possibly can be. And I care about size too. So I would definitely not want to get smaller, just get bigger and put a little bit more focus into the chin-up and getting stronger there as well. With that being said, and with a body type being talked about, the physiques that you see in street lifting are, I would argue, a lot more desirable than some of the typical physiques you see with either strongman or powerlifting. And one of the reasons why I think USA street lifting is going to start taking off here in America, just because it gives people who are a bit leaner and who have stronger upper bodies a chance to compete in something that favors them a little bit more. Powerlifting is great. It has the bench press, but most of the total is made up of squats and deadlifts, where if you're carrying around an extra gut or anything like that, and you kind of have a soft physique, it's not going to be detrimental to you. But in street lifting, you need to be lean. You want to be as lean as possible and have as much muscle as possible on the upper body in order to generate enough force to be putting up some of these crazy numbers. Everyone there looked like they could show up the next day and compete in a bodybuilding show. They are jacked. They're lean and they're jacked. So that's why I think street lifting, as far as visually appealing, it can really take off. The other things I would like to talk about with America's potential is, obviously we have some of the best, strongest lifters in the world when we have effort put into it. Powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding, a lot of these strength and muscle sports, the top guys, a lot of them are coming from America. We just need to grow this sport more. So I implore you guys, if you're interested at all into testing how strong your body is in a different way, such as street lifting, how strong is your pull strength? How strong is your dip strength? How strong is your muscle up? And how strong is your squat? It's a full body competition. It tests every aspect of the person. And that's, again, why I think it's such a great sport. If you're interested at all, please, this upcoming year, 2025, look for a USA street lifting competition near you. And who knows, I'll probably see you there.